So I know everyone always talks about the counterfeit, but no one talks about the counterfeit when it comes to business. No one talks about the counterfeit when it comes, well, I haven't came across anyone talking about the counterfeit when it comes to business, your education, moving forward in your life, professional counterfeits. So, but what I kept hearing today was lean not on your own understanding, right? So Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So the enemy likes to play in your face, because that's what the enemy does. It enjoys doing that. It's this need of, it reminds me of like the old school Batman, like the Riddler. Like, it's always confusion. It's always a way to find a way to try to minimize anything that you're doing or anything that you're trying to do, any type of seeds that you're planting, anything. And if it could come in and counterfeit and jump from relatives to professional colleagues to administrative people within your school, it doesn't matter. That's what it's going to do. If there's a gateway or even a little bit of a opening, it's going to find a way to slide in. Because at the end of the day, he's the counterfeit. So he's the individual that's going to come in and copy everything that God does. So I was listening to a podcast this morning, and the minister was talking about how, God will place a new heart and he will place his spirit in you. The enemy tries to do the same thing. So, or how they say it gets the worst before it becomes the brightest, like it's the darkest before the dawn. So at the end of the day, the counterfeit will come in and do exactly what it's going to do. It's going to come in with falsified information. It's going to come in as a false prophet. And that was another one I was looking at today about Ezekiel, about the false prophets, and everybody will be condemned because of the fact that they use a way to wash out the brain in order to be able to make you believe that they are the way. But those who have ear hears my voice. Those who have eyes know what I'm saying. So it's like those who have ear will hear. Those who have eyes will see. So it becomes a way where you think or you get confused, but you really aren't confused, because your spirit will tell you. Even in the midst of a conversation, your spirit will let you know if this person is playing in God's face. So lean not on your own understanding, and know that God will lead the way for your paths. I was also thinking, like, dang, everything is falling by the wayside, and it appears to look like you're not trying to put your best foot forward, or you're not trying, but you really are trying. But it's like you're trying on your own. You're trying to make things happen on your own. You're trying to do and operate and move the way that you need to move, but you're not trusting in God. Like, you may think, I don't have this and I need that and things to do, but at the same time, God will find a way to provide for you, even though it may look like you're stuck in the wilderness. It may look like there is no light, like there's nothing, like there's no way out of it, like you don't have any way of coming to a solution, because yet again you're leaning on your own understanding and you're not leaning into faith. You're not trusting in him. So when you look back and say, well, these were failures, but they wasn't failures, or you say these were mistakes, but they wasn't mistakes, God's not going to give it to you if it's coming from the other kingdom. So I look back and I learned that there's a lot of things that I was able to do, a lot of creativity, a lot of stuff, like just constantly achieving so many different avenues and so many different sources of income from multiple perspectives and multiple ways, because of the fact that I was creating. And it's like, you think, oh, well, this is coming directly from God, but why would it come to a halt? I think the enemy likes to put you on a pedestal in order to bring you down, because the whole point is to try to get you to bow down to him. And you're not going to bow down to him because of the fact that you know who your father is, and you know that it's just not in you to bow down to the enemy. So at the end of the day, what's going to happen is you're going to have to go through some stuff. Some things are going to have to fall at the wayside. It is going to look like your life is in shambles. And God's going to show you, like, who's really for you, who's enjoying the fact that they can mock you at this time, who's enjoying the fact that they can laugh at you, who's enjoying the fact that you're at a place where it looks like you're dead in the water, but you're not dead in the water. The way I look at it is, God is stripping you in order to remold you, in order to remake you, in order to recreate who you are and what you can become in him. So things may look very just really scarce, but they're not. I'm learning that the little inklings that I would get about certain individuals, and God was trying to show me that years ago, and I didn't want to believe that, because I'm like, this person is like, I've sacrificed so much for these people. Like, why would they try to do anything to harm me? Or why would they try to go behind my back and do something that's just wrong? And now I'm learning that people have a way of holding grudges against you, because to them, it looks like you can never fall. To them, it looks like you are someone who constantly can keep going, regardless of any situation or anything that has ever happened to you. Like, you're able to get yourself back up. So with them, it's excitement. And you're like, but I love you unconditionally. I would never think, we're a unit. Like, we came into this world and we're doing this. Like, we are related. And then I can hear God saying, well, this person did such and such and such. And I'm just like, nah. Then what happens? Years later, God is showing you. Because now, all of that distraction and all of that clutter and all of that white noise in the background, all of that's removed out the way. Because then you ask yourself, like, why would all this be stripped down? Like, why would this all be happening to me? Because of the fact that he has to get you to be able to be in a place of isolation so he can be able to speak to you and show you. So he has to show you, because they say a hard head makes a soft behind. It's like, it's better for you to learn than somebody else telling you. And of course he had been speaking to you and telling you for the longest, but now he has to show you. So by him showing you these things, now you're able to understand, because you're in an isolation stage. So by you being in an isolation stage, he could show you who was really for you, who was against you, who have been plotting the whole entire time against you, who's behind this situation and behind that situation. He's teaching you. It's it's like, I think in my mind sometimes, and like, you don't know. Sometimes you're like, it's real, but it is real. It's extremely real. So I was watching something, and the gentleman was talking about how we're like, we live in, like, even though we're on one planet, we live in multiple playing fields, because you have the spiritual realm and you have the physical realm. And I'm like, yes. So what you can see with the naked eye versus also what you can see with your spiritual eye, and not your third eye, but the spiritual gifts that God has given to you, and what you're able to do in the spiritual realm when you go to sleep, and also when you are awake, and things like that. So all of it comes into play. Is, like I had stated before, he's finding a way to strip you so that he can mold you into what he knows that you are. It's like you're finding your real identity with him. You're finding who you are in the spirit realm. You're finding out who you are in the physical realm. You're understanding why things happened the way they did, why certain situations didn't come to fruition the way that you needed it to, because of the fact that it's all due to the Father. So when you get those feelings and inclinations and letting you know something's not right here with this situation, something's not right in this conversation, this person is lying to me, or this person is pretending, because this person is really praying against anything successfully happening for me, and you look back and you're like, but why would this person do this to me when I've done so much for this person? Because people like to see you at a state where you're beneath them. Because it makes certain people feel, it makes demons feel good to torment a human being. I heard the other day, you can't stay in hell if you're not torturing anybody. So, being the fact that they have given up and they pretend that they are about your Father, but like he has stated, I will spit you out my mouth because you are lukewarm, because you cannot serve two masters. You will love one and hate the other. So, when he's telling you, be careful, tread lightly, pay attention, you're not losing your mind. There's nothing wrong happening to you. God is waking you up and showing you that, hey, this person is not for you, and this person has not been for you for a very long time. They were playing your face in order to be able to gain more access to you. But remember all the other times where I had showed you continuously what this person was doing and how they was doing this to you. Pay attention to people's motives, their reactions, how they are when they're around you. Pay attention to how your body feels when you're talking to people. So pay attention to that, because there's a reason behind that. There's a reason behind when you're around somebody in someone's presence or someone's in your presence, and you can feel that something is not correct. You feel tired, you feel weak, you feel drained, you feel sad, you feel disconnected to the Father. You feel all these things because that's how that person is. And what they're doing is they're transferring that energy, your light, your source, your direct pipeline to the Father. They're transferring that into them because they don't have that connection. And you look at them on the outside and you're like, but you a part of the church committee, you doing all of this. It's called Pharisees. So just pay attention, because he will protect you. He will show you what you need to know. And even though it may feel like you're down for such a long period of time, you're really not. You're learning. You are learning. You're learning how people move out here in these spiritual streets. You are learning on so many levels, so many facets, how many people have been literally praying against you since birth, because he knew you before you knew yourself in the womb. So don't second guess what he's teaching you and what he's showing you. Just be grateful that you can hear him now, that you can understand him. But even if you was able to hear him before, be grateful that you now acknowledge the fact that he's blessing you with knowledge. So yes, so people just want access because they just want to steal your light. People just want to be able to speak to you, have connections with you so that they can transfer whatever's going on to them. They can latch onto you, that pipeline, and get some source energy. It's like you didn't sleep for a whole week, and then finally you're able to go to sleep. And you wake up and you feel so refreshed and so renewed. Or it's like when you, think of a better analogy, it's like when you don't feel well and you either got a head cold or whatever the case may be, and you drink some medicine and then you're able to actually sleep. You feel better in the morning because of the fact that you took something to help with that situation, versus if you just tough it out. And you know how you feel when you don't feel well and it's time to go to sleep. You can't sleep. You're tossing and turning. You don't feel good. But if you take something you feel better. And you'll feel refreshed the next morning. So when they see you coming, you're the best source of medicine for them. You are everything that they need at that moment, and then some. So if they can find a way to pretend and play in your face in order to connect with you so that they can actually have that source of energy, then they're good to go. They can dibble drabble and do dibble drabble. They can do both. They can play in each realm, because at the end of the day, it makes them feel good to know that they're getting over. So you got this. I love you, and keep going. Nah, sorry. I was talking as they was walking past me. You got this. I love you, and lean not into your understanding, but just trust God and have faith. So trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not onto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. And don't worry about these flying monkeys that they have surrounding you. You got to remember one thing. I was watching a show the other day, and I didn't get to finish. Well, I got to see a little bit of it, but what he was trying to explain to him, because if I can find a way to make you my slave, right? You got a demonic energy that's constantly coming for you over and over and over and over and over again, right? Just fighting you. Spiritual warfare 24/7, right? And then you come out and you got to deal with all the flying monkeys and all the demonic entities that are outside in the physical realm, right? So the whole point is to be able to catch a soul, right? So if I catch this soul, that means that that's another score point on the board in the demonic realm. And now that soul that I caught, which would be you, unfortunately, you know, just speaking in hypothetically, you know, allegedly, if you was caught by these soul catchers, what happens is now you become their slave. So when you see these flying monkeys and they're doing the things that they're doing, there's no control, there's no power, they're gone. The seat of the soul is open. So whomever wants to come in and lease it, rent it, do whatever they want to do, they're doing it, because the soul had already been fragmented and spread apart and obtained in jars, and literally they're able to do whatever they want to do. So the whole point is to catch another fresh soul, another soul that literally is just exactly coming from the Father, a soul that is connected, divine pipeline to the Father. So that will continue to give them, like I said before, they need energy, they need light, they need all of this power. And you have that as a Christian. You have that, the fact that you follow your Father, you have that authority. So at the end of the day, don't show any fear, because that means if you show fear to something like that, that means that you don't respect your Father and you don't show fear to him. So whenever you feel fearful, or whenever you feel like it's too much, then you just pray without ceasing. And you ignore the fact that these individuals thinking that they're doing something when they're not really doing anything. Because at the end of the day, you got this. You're good. You're already connected to the Father. And you are prepared for this. Even though it may feel like you're not prepared for this, you really are prepared for this on so many levels. Like, he wouldn't place you in predicaments and situations if he didn't know that you can overcome it. So the more you focus on the fact that you've already done this, that this is a test that you've already ran, that this is like, you already scored high on this exam, you already did everything that you had to do for this, then this becomes nothing. It's like you skipping down a parlay. Like, it's nothing to you. Like, you're an Olympic winner. So for you to go again and do it again and again, it's nothing for you. Yes, it's excitement, it's joy, but you didn't run about 6 times already. So it's like you didn't run so many times in the kingdom that of course he will want you to be equipped for this, because he's already equipped you for it. So why would he not place you in that position to be able to do that? So you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fret. And like I stated, lean not into your own understanding. Let me read it again. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not onto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. I love you. You got this. Keep going. And really absorb the knowledge that that the Holy Spirit is telling you. Like, really do that, because the Holy Spirit is whispering to you, because the Holy Spirit wants to teach you so that you don't have to go around the same mountain all over again. Trust me, it's crazy when you look back and you're like, man, I've wasted so many years. But it wasn't that you really wasted so many years. You clocked experience. So instead of looking at situations like this, time has been wasted, look at it as like this is your spiritual resume. So with this spiritual resume, what you have now done is clocked experience. in both realms, because you're able to understand the spiritual realm, you're able to understand the physical realm. So God is just basically upgrading your resume, and that's how you can look at it. So I love you. You got this, and just keep it up. Keep going.